You ever notice how one simple conversation can suddenly feel like a trial? Someone says one thing, you hear another, and before either of you even realizes it, both of you are building a case, not talking, proving, defending, replaying old lines, reading tone like every sentence needs a witness. And then later the room feels colder than it should. So ask yourself quietly, am I trying to understand this person, or am I just trying not to lose? Because that answer changes the whole conversation. Here's the truth. Most relationships don't go cold because people stop caring. They go cold because people start defending themselves before they ever understand the other person. And when that becomes the pattern, even small moments start to feel heavy. In the next few minutes, I want to give you a calmer way through those moments. Not therapy language, not clever tricks. Just a few small shifts that can stop one conversation from turning into a wound that lasts all night. And stay to the end, because I'm going to give you a simple 3-sentence reset you can use in under a minute when things start to heat up. Habit 1. Notice when the room becomes a courtroom. It usually starts small. A text that feels sharp, a question that sounds loaded, a reply that arrives too late. Suddenly, both people are collecting evidence. Who said what? Who forgot what? Who raised their voice first? And once a conversation becomes proof, connection gets pushed out. That's why you can be technically right and still feel deeply alone. Because the person across from you is no longer hearing your meaning. They're hearing your defense. The tiny shift is this. When you feel yourself preparing a speech, pause and ask, what is this person actually trying to say? Not because you agree, not because you're surrendering, but because 1 second of curiosity can soften the whole atmosphere before it hardens. Habit 2. Understand why defense feels so automatic. Most people think they're just getting irritated, but often something deeper is happening. Being blamed can feel dangerous. Being misunderstood can feel personal. It can touch shame faster than anger. That's why the body reacts so quickly. Tight chest, faster voice, sharper words. The brain is still trying to think, but the nervous system is already protecting. So the rule here is simple. When you feel that surge, don't answer the strongest version of their statement. Answer the clearest version of it. In other words, don't reply to the attack you imagine. Reply to the actual thing they may be trying to communicate. That one habit lowers tension because people stop feeling like they need to fight to be heard. And when people feel less threatened, they become easier to reach. Habit 3. Ask one clarifying question before you make your point. This is where everything starts to change. Most arguments get worse because both people assume they already know what the other meant, but they don't. They know what it sounded like through stress, tiredness, and old frustration. So instead of rushing in with your explanation, try asking, what did you mean by that? Or, can you tell me what felt hard about that for you? That's it. One honest question can do more than 5 defensive sentences ever will. Why? Because curiosity lowers the temperature. It tells the other person, I'm not here just to win. I'm here to see you clearly. And when someone feels seen, they usually stop pushing quite so hard. Habit 4. Use the 3-sentence reset. This is the simplest way to protect a conversation before it turns sharp. First, what I hear you saying is, second, did I get that right? Third, here is what I was feeling too. That order matters because most people skip straight to their own side. They jump into explanation before the other person feels understood, and then the conversation stays stuck in resistance. But when you reflect their meaning first, something softens. Their shoulders drop, their voice changes, the room gets a little safer. This is not about agreeing with everything. It's about making sure the other person feels heard before you ask them to hear you. And that small difference can keep a bad moment from becoming a bad pattern. Habit 5. Change the role you play. Here's a deeper truth people don't hear often. In close relationships, you are always shaping the emotional climate, not just with what you say, but with the energy you bring into the room. If you walk in already tired, already defensive, already ready to prove your point, the whole interaction changes. If you come in with a little more pause, a little more curiosity, a little less rush, the whole tone shifts too. You are not the person who wins arguments. You are the person who lowers the temperature. That doesn't mean you become passive. It means you become intentional. And sometimes the most loving thing you can do is not answer immediately. It is to breathe, sit back, and let the conversation become human again. Because when people are exhausted, they defend faster and listen worse. That's why tired evenings turn into messy conversations so easily. One bad reply after a long day can carry more weight than it should. Habit 6. Protect the relationship before the damage gets loud. This is the quiet work. Put the phone face down when it matters. Look at the person, not the screen. Sit beside them if the energy is too sharp face to face. Keep your voice slower than your frustration. These are small things, but small things are how trust is built. Not with one huge apology, not with one perfect conversation, with repeated signals that say, "You matter more than my reflex to defend myself." That's why a calm kitchen conversation can heal more than a dramatic late-night explanation ever will. And here's the deeper mid-video truth. The real skill is not learning how to win a hard conversation. It is learning how to stay safe enough inside yourself that you don't need to make the other person the enemy. A lot of conflict is not about the topic. It's about nervous systems meeting each other in the dark. When you can feel that in real time, you stop treating every hard moment like a threat to your worth. You stop turning one disagreement into a verdict on the relationship. You become steadier, and steadiness changes everything. Habit 7. Use the overlooked ending question. Before the conversation closes, ask, "What would help you feel understood right now?" It sounds simple, but it lands differently, because now the goal is not to leave with a perfect argument. The goal is to leave with less misunderstanding than when you started. And that is often enough to save the tone of the whole relationship. Here's the final perspective shift. Curiosity is not weakness. It is not people-pleasing. It is not pretending you don't have a perspective. It is not losing yourself. Curiosity is strength with control. It's the ability to stay present long enough to understand what's really happening under the words. And in close relationships, that matters more than being impressive, more than being clever, more than being right for 10 seconds. Because the person who understands first often leads the room without needing to dominate it. So here's the question to take with you tonight. Do you want to be right for 1 minute or understood for the long run? If you remember nothing else, remember this. Every conversation is quietly shaping the future of the relationship. Every pause, every question, every moment of restraint is either a small deposit or a small withdrawal. One day you'll look back and realize the life you built was made of ordinary moments like these. A kitchen talk, a text reply, a hard silence, a better question, and maybe that's the real skill. Not winning the moment, protecting the connection. If this gave you something useful, keep it close. And if you want, share it with someone who could use a calmer conversation today.